When you look at the mirror, do you see you? Or do you see what the world has made you believe you are? Once upon a time, a young man walked through the desert. He was walking in the sand in the burning sun. He had been walking for days, searching for something, though he didn't know what. His heart felt heavy, but he didn't know why. He had lived his life chasing things, money, success, approval, but none of it made him happy. Deep inside, there was a question. Who am I? One day, he saw a small hut in the distance. As he got closer, he noticed an old man sitting outside, dressed in simple robes. The old man had kind eyes and a calm presence, as if he knew secrets the world had forgotten. The young man approached and said, "I have been searching for answers. Can you help me?" The old man smiled and nodded. "Sit, and I will tell you a story." The old man began. Once in a great kingdom, there was a mask seller. He made beautiful masks. Some made the wearer look powerful, some made them look wise, some made them look rich. People from all over came to buy his masks. There was a boy in the village who admired the mask seller. One day, he asked, "Can I have a mask?" The seller smiled and gave him one. The boy put it on and felt different. He looked strong and confident. People treated him with respect. He loved it. As he grew older, he bought more masks, one for every situation. A mask for when he wanted to be brave, another for when he wanted to seem kind, another for when he needed to look smart. Soon, he forgot what his real face looked like. One night, he woke up and felt lost. He ran to a mirror and tried to take off his mask, but he couldn't. It had become part of him. He had worn so many masks that he had forgotten who he truly was. The old man paused and looked at the young traveler. This is what happens to many people. They wear masks to fit in, to impress others, to feel important, but in the end, they forget who they truly are. The young man lowered his head. "I feel like that boy. I've spent my life trying to be what others expect me to be. But now, I don't know who I am." The old man nodded. "Then it is time to remove your masks." The old man stood up and motioned for the young man to follow. They walked for miles until they reached a river. The water was clear and still, reflecting the sky like a perfect mirror. The old man pointed to the water. "Look at your reflection. What do you see?" The young man looked down. "I see myself." The old man shook his head. "Do you? Or do you see what the world has made you believe you are?" The young man stared deeper at the water. He saw a face, but was it truly him? Or was it just the version of himself shaped by expectations, fears, and dreams that were never really his? The old man picked up a small rock and tossed it into the river. The water rippled, distorting the reflection. "Your mind is like this water. When it is full of thoughts, fears, and distractions, you cannot see yourself clearly. But if you let it settle, you will see the truth." The young man took a deep breath. "How do I make my mind still?" The old man smiled. "By letting go of what is not truly you." The old man picked up a heavy bag filled with stones and handed it to the young man. "Carry this." The young man struggled under its weight. "What's in it?" The old man replied, "Everything you think you are. Your name, your past, your fears, your titles, your regrets. Carry it and walk." The young man took a few steps, but his back ached and his legs felt weak. The old man then said, "Now drop one stone." The young man removed a rock from the bag. "That stone was your fear of failure. Do you feel lighter?" The young man nodded. "Now drop another." He removed another. That was the need to impress others. One by one, he dropped more stones. His regrets, his doubts, his need for approval. With each one, he felt lighter. Finally, he dropped the last stone and stood up straight. The old man smiled. "Now, who are you?" The young man thought for a moment. I don't know." The old man laughed. "Good. Now you can begin to find out." The young man sat by the river, watching the sky change colors as the sun set. He had spent his whole life chasing an image of himself. But now he realized something important. Who we are is not a title, a job, or what others think of us. It is not our fears, our past, or the masks we wear. Who we are is something deeper, something that cannot be defined by words, only felt in the silence of our hearts. The old man spoke one last time. The journey of life is not about becoming someone. It is about remembering who you already are. The young man stood up, feeling lighter than he ever had before. He did not have all the answers, but for the first time, he was ready to ask the right questions. His journey was just beginning. The young man stayed at the river for a long time, thinking about the old man's words. As night fell, he looked up at the stars. He had spent his life trying to be someone, but now he realized he had never truly been himself. The old man stood up and gestured for him to follow. They walked in silence until they reached a small wooden hut. The old man pushed the door open and stepped inside. The young man hesitated. "Should I knock?" The old man smiled. "Why knock when the door is already open?" The young man stepped inside. The hut was empty except for a single candle flickering on the floor. The old man sat down and gestured for him to do the same. "This hut is like your true self," the old man said. "It has always been here. It has always been open, but you have spent your life standing outside, waiting for someone to invite you in." The young man lowered his head. "I have spent so much time trying to find myself, but if my true self was always here, why couldn't I see it?" The old man blew out the candle. The room was swallowed in darkness. "Because you have been looking with your eyes." The old man relit the candle. The flame flickered, casting long shadows on the walls. "Imagine a room full of mirrors," the old man continued. "Each mirror shows a different version of you. One shows you as a child, another as a student, another as a friend, a worker, a leader, a failure, a success. These are all parts of you, but none of them are the whole truth." The young man closed his eyes, imagining the room. He saw his childhood self, full of dreams. He saw his teenage self, trying to fit in. He saw his adult self, chasing money, approval, and status. So many reflections, so many versions of himself. "If I am not these reflections, then who am I?" he asked. The old man smiled. "You are not the reflections. You are the one looking into the mirror." The young man's breath caught in his throat. He had been searching for himself in the world, in labels, in roles, but now he understood. He was not any of those things. He was something deeper. The old man stood up and walked outside. The young man followed. The old man raised his hand. "Catch the wind," he said. The young man reached out, but the wind slipped through his fingers. The old man chuckled. "That is who you are. You are not something that can be held, labeled, or trapped. You are like the wind, free, formless, ever moving." The young man closed his eyes and let the wind touch his skin. For the first time, he did not try to grasp it. He simply let it be, and in that moment, he felt light. He did not have all the answers, but he no longer needed them. The next morning, the young man stood at the edge of the village, ready to continue his journey. The old man walked with him to the road. "Before you go, I have one last question for you," the old man said. "Who are you?" The young man smiled. "I don't know, but now I am ready to find out." The old man laughed and placed a hand on his shoulder. "Good, then your journey has truly begun." With that, the young man turned and walked toward the horizon, no longer searching for something outside himself. because now he understood. The answers were always within. This is a question that many of us struggle with. Who am I? We often define ourselves by what we do, what we achieve, or what others think of us. But the truth is, we are something deeper, something beyond labels, beyond roles, beyond fears. The answers to life's deepest questions are not found in wealth or fame, but in understanding our true nature. Finding yourself is not about becoming someone. It is about remembering who you already are. And the only way to find that truth is to start looking within. So, who are you?